Hi, this is Joanne of Golden DNA Healing, addressing all levels, physical, emotional, mental and spiritual. And today I want to discuss a very important topic to our health and well-being, the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system, our fight or flight, is essential to our health and well-being on all levels. And why is this? Well, what is the autonomic nervous system? It's part of our overall nervous system in the body. We have the central nervous system, and then we have what we call the ANS, the autonomic nervous system. It's comprised of two areas, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. Now, the sympathetic mode is when we are stressed, when we're triggered, and we're on high alert. And both the sympathetic and parasympathetic is involuntary. It just automatically happens in our body. We get triggered, we get a fright, we get stressed, our blood pressure goes up, our heart beats faster. And then the parasympathetic mode, which of course is what we want because it's all about relaxation, that causes the blood pressure to go down, the breathing to slow, our digestion eases and calms, and we're in the relaxed state as if we're in a meditation. So why is it important to our health? Well, one big word, stress. Stress is the key to the autonomic nervous system and dysfunction. And all of us, every day are stressed. We've been stressed since we were born. Childhood, chronic stress. In fact, chronic stress, which is long-term stress, can actually be termed an illness. It is an illness, but it's an invisible illness. And so we are not aware of the effect on us, our bodies, and our whole well-being. Because when we're stressed, it affects our minds, and we perceive the whole world so differently. So what actually happens, and why is it so important? In fact, essential for our health, to be able to manage and understand the effect on stress on our nervous system. When we get stressed, or when we have chronic stress in the body, and it affects the nervous system, what happens, because of the overflow of cortisol, adrenaline, that happens when we're in the alert sympathetic state, it affects directly our immune system. And then we get ill, because when we have a low immune system, we are prone to illnesses that happen and colds. Therefore, keeping our autonomic nervous system and our stress levels at a good level, and to be aware and to release our stress on a daily basis, is the key to our health and well-being. And how do we release stress? There are so many ways. I'm just touching on it on this video, and I will do others as well. The main areas that most people know of: meditation, going out into nature, exercise, the ancient tools of Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, anything that relaxes the body. Now, in my clinic, over the years, I've seen thousands of people, and the key is every single person, including me, suffers from stress, and I can feel and sense the stress in the bodies. And even when people have trauma, I sense it as a kind of trembling in the body, which is really interesting, because by the end of the treatment, the trembling has actually ceased. So when I feel the body, and when I do a treatment, I can feel the very, very tight muscles and the fascia surround all the muscles and the organs. I can feel it incredibly tightly, and at the end, they're starting to release. So what I'm trying to say is that our body is our radar. Our body tells us how much stress we have right now and how much stress we've had in the past. Because did you know that our muscles have memory? There is something called muscle memory. That will be a separate video. And that means that all the stress, all the trauma, all the events and memories from childhood and beyond, even past lives, are stored in our cells, in our fascia, in our tissues on a deep level. And that's why some people, when you look at them, look almost frozen. They're frozen in a, they've got a certain look on their face, a grimace. Sometimes, we talk about frozen in fear. It's not just the face, it's the whole body. So it's imperative that we either have therapies, hands-on therapies that actually release stress from our bodies, anything like the Bowen technique that I do, golden DNA, massage, reflexology, acupuncture, anything, osteopathy, chiropractic, any healing modality will release stress. At the same time, we can also do a lot of self-care and a lot of release techniques ourselves if we can't get to see a therapist. So today I'm going to actually just show you one very, very quick technique that will take you into parasympathetic mode. And just before I do that, I want to say that there are many wonderful books out there to give lots of information. Some of them that I recommend, talking about stress, trauma, the autonomic nervous system. The ones that I find very useful, there is a book by a man called Gabor Mate, M-A-T-E, and his book is called When the Body Says No. And I love that title because I see that every day in my clinic when the client's body has said, enough, I've had enough. And so the symptoms and the illness are a message from the body, the nervous system, to say something's wrong. Please help. Please listen to the message. Please address the body. And that's what we work with. Dr. Peter Levine has written the classic Awaken the Tiger about trauma, and another book that is wonderful, very well known, is Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, called The Body Keeps the Score. And why I mention him is he is a psychiatrist, and he's one of the first psychiatrists to talk about how the body is so important in releasing trauma and stress, and not just talking therapies or using the mind, because the body and the mind are connected. It's very well researched. And he talks about doing yoga, therapies, movement. And so nowadays we are all much more aware of how movement affects the body, releases stress, and how important it is to release stress from the body because it's toxic. And as I said, stress is an illness. So this one very easy technique is actually about peripheral vision. Did you know that when we stare at a screen, at the computer, at the television, when we stare at it for a long period of time, we're looking with tunnel vision, almost at one spot, and that actually causes our sympathetic system to go on high alert. And as I said before, the sympathetic is when we get stressed, and it also activates the adrenal glands on our kidneys, which then releases more adrenaline and cortisol, which goes into our system. And so what I'm going to teach you is to look peripherally to the side very slowly, because when we have peripheral vision, it activates the parasympathetic mode within us. So if you want, you can just watch and just copy me. So you look straight ahead at a point on the ceiling ahead of you. You look straight ahead and then bring your eyes up just a little bit, just above where you were looking straight ahead. And then you carry on looking at one spot, and then you let your eyes just go fuzzy and relaxed, looking at that one spot. And as your eyes go fuzzy, be aware of how much you can see on the side of your eyes, which is called peripheral vision. Be aware, and it's very interesting because suddenly you become aware, as you look ahead, you become aware that your peripheral vision becomes larger and larger. And can you kind of see me yawn? Because I can already feel the relaxation response, which is the parasympathetic response within my body, activate. And as I see more and more of the peripheral vision, you can almost start to visualize and be aware of a 360 degrees all the way around you. Even the back of your head, you can't see it, but you can be aware of it. And the more you do that, the more relaxed your whole body becomes. I can feel my shoulders slumping as my peripheral vision expands. At the same time, the muscles of the face and the jaw relax, and the jaw is one of the key areas where we hold stress and tension and anger and irritability. So that's a lovely quick exercise to do when you're on your own or when you feel overwhelmed or stressed. Please, if you found any of this useful, I would be grateful if you left a comment. Anything else you would like me to talk about, anything to do with health, healing on any level, just ask, put a comment below. Thank you, and see you again soon.